All right, welcome back to Fright Night Flicks. You're here with Dan and Darren, your go-to horror movie review podcast.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome back.
What's up? So, being that I think we just announced last podcast, even though it was our second one, that we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, we didn't even mention what the purpose was, like what movies we're talking about, I don't think.
No, we didn't. So, the way we're doing this is we're going through the entire Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, and then I think next series we're doing for sure is going to be Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and then down the road, I already have my eyes on, do you know what franchise?
Let's see. Freddy
would be good. Yeah, for sure. Nightmare on Elm Street down the road.
I know. Leprechaun.
Drink what you want. Drink what you're able. If you're drinking with me, you'll be under the table.
Yeah, I want to do this Leprechaun. I love the Leprechaun movies.
Was it really? I was totally joking.
I do want to do it. Don't you?
Yes, they're great. Dude, Leprechaun in the Hood. I mean, come on now.
I mean, a Leprechaun in the Hood doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Maybe a Leprechaun in space.
Maybe a Leprechaun everywhere. If you guys want to help support the podcast, we have a link below for, I always want to say Patreon. It's not Patreon. PayPal, that's the one. Or you can join us on YouTube members. We do have a Discord where if you're into ASIM horror games too, we play there. We also talk movies. So
and drop members content. And if you become a member, you can drop questions. We'll play them on the pod.
Well, and let's be real.
We'll talk about them.
We'll probably do some movie reviews in the future for some member content too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's definitely like those little one-off movies that it's not like a series, but it'd be fun to talk about.
Goonies?
That's not a horror movie. Come on.
I mean, sloth's horror-like.
Okay, nice try. All right, let's get into what we're going to talk about today. Are you into bionic Leatherfaces? Evil children?
Don't talk back.
Maybe demonic evil children.
Yeah.
Stainless steel chainsaws. And maybe a peephole or two.
Sounds great.
Because this may be the movie for you. We are going over Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Part 3. This was made in 1990, directed by Jeff Burr. The writer is David Schow, S-C-H-O-W. I don't know how to say it. So it's a little, you can tell the writers are a little different.
Yeah, and this movie definitely has a different feel. Well, we had TCM 1, very serious. TCM 2, very goofy. And this one just kind of is.
Yeah, we'll get into our review. It's definitely different, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
So we start off in like every good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. They have the black screen. It's like Star Wars, but not Star Wars.
Yeah,
the scrolling text, the report. So let me read it for you. On August 18th, 1973, Sally Hardesty, her invalid brother Franklin, and their friends fell afoul of a bizarre cannibalistic clan of serial predators. Miss Hardesty was the sole survivor of that night of terror. She died in a private health care facility in 1977. Spoiler alert here, they hit you out the gate. Sally gone.
Well, that's funny because she isn't, though, because she comes back in a later movie. But okay.
No, they said she died.
I mean, I don't know. With these movies, sometimes the continuity, I don't know if it really works or if they're really concerned about it.
Yeah, I feel like you get different directors and writers and things go right sometimes. So that it's like, that didn't happen, you know?
Yeah, I feel like this movie's kind of like, we kind of forget about that with TCM in the TCM lore, right?
I feel like they just tried to murder off the old TCMs and make their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, which... Yeah, we'll see how it goes. A single member of the murderer's family lived to see trial. The prosecution recorded his name as W.E. Sawyer. He died in the gas chamber in 1981. So this is saying one member of that family from the original TCM survived.
Yeah, and who's W.E.?
I looked it up. It ain't any of the original guys. I think he comes later in the franchise or something.
Interesting. We just threw a name out there.
I don't know. You guys let us know if there's more to that. The jurors concluded that Leatherface, presumed to be an unapprehended killer, was in fact an alternate personality of the Sawyers, activated when he donned a crude mask of human flesh. So they're pinning everything on this guy that he had multiple personalities and he is Leatherface.
Right. Which was not true.
No. But I mean, that's part of this. Like, they're setting that up.
Yeah.
That's not like they messed up.
No, I get it.
If there was no Leatherface in reality, then Sally Hardesty may at last rest in peace. If there was a Leatherface, he remains at large, and the so-called Texas Chainsaw Massacre was only the beginning.
Ooh. Dude, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. You should get into sound effects.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not kidding. That was good.
That wasn't bad, right? All right. So we start with a scene where Leatherface is working in his shop. He's in his shop. He's carving up a little mask. And I got to be honest, at first I was a little excited because I was like, man, the face actually looks kind of interesting in this.
It's different, right? It looks a little bit more realistic, I'd say.
Yeah, it's not like the dead, decayed face. This is a freshie. So he's making his new mask, and then we see a girl in the window, and we're gonna call her the Forest Girl.
I think that's who it is, and she'll come back into play later. You know what's funny? I watched this twice. I never even noticed this intro part. I think I just kind of skipped through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know because I totally watched it. So I don't know where your brain was.
I don't know.
So the girl's outside the window watching Leatherface work. She steps on a branch. Leatherface gets alerted. And this is our first look at like the new Leatherface, right? He slams the door. Not that impressive.
I don't even remember this part. So yeah, I'd also say not impressive.
Yeah, it's just our first look at Leatherface. And I was like, We go from the scene with Leatherface to find two young lovers on a road trip across the country.
Ryan,
Radio reception shit.
so's our conversation.
Are they young lovers? Because I watched this the first time. I honestly thought they were like brother and sister.
I know they're supposedly together, but things are rocky.
I think she's going to go traveling abroad, and he's a pre-med student.
Don't
right?
jump the gun. We got to get first because there's an important radio report.
Turn it up, we're getting something.
Point at the side of the grisly mass grave has caused the first ever traffic jam in the history of the interstate.
So it seems to me that the old family's up to no good again.
Yeah, and apparently their stash of bodies has been found, and we're going to come upon that pretty soon.
Yeah, I didn't know they stashed bodies in a hole. Like, that's their thing.
Well, this is a new Leatherface. This is a new movie, right? They do
That's
things
true.
differently than in the past.
That's true. Okay, let's get to our characters here. So we learn it's Ryan and Michelle. They're on a road trip. They don't tell us where at this point, but they're going to Florida.
Right, and they are together. They're a couple. It's rocky, though. It's not good.
Yes, Ryan makes it a point to say, like, basically, Michelle is going to New York, and then she's off to Air Britannia.
I mean, once we get to Florida, you're off to New York, and it's Air Britannia all the way, right?
Yeah, they said that. My first thought is like, oh, is her name Tanya or something? Like, is he making a joke?
No, I actually looked it up. Apparently, that's like a UK airline. So maybe he's saying like she's going to New York, then overseas. I don't know. It almost seems like maybe she's going to be some fashion coordinator or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, and Ryan's pre-med, and he acts like he is.
We learn about that. We learn about that later. But
yeah, the relationship's rocky. Bad idea to go on a trip together, but here we are.
Well, let me just put it this way. They start talking about the mass grave and the death, and they get in a little bit of like their thoughts on life here.
Gotta fry that sucker if they find him.
Violence is no answer to violence.
Yeah, well, welcome to the real world, Michelle.
And this is like how they talk to each other the whole time.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is they're setting you up for Michelle. Michelle's going to have some growth in this movie, and she starts out as being violence is not the answer. At the end, that might change.
I think she would say differently by then. So they continue their trip. We get a "Don't mess with Texas" sign. Obviously, they're coming into Texas now. And this is where things start getting weird because we arrive at the mass grave site. So the police have blocked off the road. They're stopped. And apparently the cops are kind of like checking cars, like making sure everyone's on the up and up and to see if any of the killers are like roaming through.
I did think that was interesting. I'm like, do they normally do that? If there's a big incident, we're going to stop everyone and interview them? I don't know. It seemed odd, but maybe.
I would say yes if like the murders just occurred, but this is like a mass grave. Like it's person's not going to be driving down the road. I don't know.
Well, not to mention, who's going to do a mass grave right off the side of the road? Seems like a bad spot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, exactly. So we get a little look at the forensic team, which actually I kind of like these guys. They were miserable doing their job, which I would be too. They're in these like whole hazmat suits. They're in this muck of like, I mean, it's like a swamp, mud swamp. I don't even know. It's just disgusting. And we see one of the forensic guys
so
go in,
gross.
and he just pulls out a head.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna barf.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
It was revolting. And anyways, and they're getting sick doing it too. But we do learn there's like 40 or 50 bodies in this one gravesite, and they've previously worked in gravesites similar. So
yeah, there's these mass murders going on. And one thing you might not have noticed, so Ryan is very annoying, right?
yeah.
And I didn't realize, I think Ryan's trying to be a stand-up comedian. Like, he fired off 3 lines in a row.
Welcome to the red light district. Looks like we've died and gone to hell. Let's not stick around to meet any of them.
Those are like rapid fire when they arrive. This dude is the most annoying person in the world.
He is. He is. Well, you mentioned pre-med because what happens is they're talking at the mass gravesite, and Ryan, there's actually a fun trivia. I didn't put it in here. There's a word for decomposing bodies, and when they, I don't know, off-put some gas or whatever it is. And the funny thing is, Ryan corrects the radio. Is it the radio they're talking about it?
Yeah.
He corrects the radio because they mispronounced it, but actually his pronunciation was incorrect as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They putrefy into a substance called
Adipose, you idiot.
He got it wrong.
This dude is an a-hole.
I know. Did you see my note? Ryan is an annoying asshole.
Yeah, you know what's funny? When I watch these movies, I'm immediately going, like, I'm taking mental inventory of who I'm okay with dying and who I'm not. Ryan immediately is on my list. Like, if Ryan goes, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, we won't miss Ryan too much. So the cop, they get to the front of the line. The cop starts questioning him. For some reason, he feels like he needs to tell them, like, why are you even driving through here? You should have taken a plane.
Yeah, he didn't like that they were traveling so far in a car.
Yeah, they say they're coming from LA going to Florida. Of course, LA, because I feel like the LA people always die in Texas. Like,
yeah,
it's like you don't have a shot in Texas. Not to say they're going to die.
Well, there's some California hate going on in this movie.
There is another shot. We'll talk about it when we get there. So his final words are, "Don't stop for nothing or nobody."
Ooh, ominous.
And of course, they do not take that advice.
No.
All right. So we flash now. That's like dark. And now we're back where the sun's out. Side note, I don't know if these people ever sleep. I think they just drive nonstop.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. They at least stayed up for 24 hours.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And it's like, it goes, I think there's even another shift from night to day. Like they I don't think they've ever slept.
Yeah. With these kind of movies, I'm not like going to be too nitpicky on the time frame. You know what I'm saying? Because this is just like TCM3.
I'm just saying there may be some methamphetamine use going on.
That'd explain Ryan's attitude.
All right. We see an ominous sign as they go. The Last Chance gas station is 10 miles up ahead. While they're on their journey, the classic armadillo in the road. Armadillo somehow just creeps up and they both freak out and truck the thing.
You know what's funny? And then they hit the armadillo, then they go out of the car and they go check on it. And then they have to make a decision. Do they kill the armadillo?
Yeah, well, it was dead. It was like, but you just have to finish it off.
Right. And Michelle couldn't do it because, again, you're building this thing. Michelle doesn't like violence.
Yeah, she's got this big rock. She's about to smash it.
Ryan, can't do it.
Can't do it. Of course, Ryan loves to do it.
Yeah, Ryan has no soul.
Did you know? I'm going to ask you a question and we'll come back to it, but did you notice something with some of the animals?
Like the noises?
No, there's something, and I caught on to it, and then I figured out what it was at the very end, but
no,
there's something strange with the animals. Okay. All right, we'll get to it when we'll get further on. So we cut over to the Last Chance gas station before Ryan and Michelle arrive. We meet Tex and Alfredo, who are going to be a couple family members. And Tex has just come back from, it looks like a little road trip. He was hitchhiking around, so he's arriving. Alfredo seems to live at this gas station.
Massa.
Yeah, and he's reading some interesting material. Is that a porno mag?
Yeah, so my first impression, Alfredo, cutting up a porno mag and not doing a very good cut job, just like all over the place.
He's clearly not mentally there. Something's wrong, very wrong with Alfredo. He's also got an eye. It looks like a fake eye.
He's got a wonky eye, a little clouded. There's a word for it, but I forget what that's called.
Clouded's good.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
His pants, did you notice the cut in his pants? They're almost like chaps. Like they're cut on the insides. Like,
well, that's the style back then.
Was that the style back then?
I don't know. Who knows?
And you notice he does have a camera a la Hitch.
Yeah, I did notice. I do see a lot of similarities with him and Hitch. I don't know if you noticed that too.
Both are wild.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so Ryan and Michelle arrive at this gas station. The first thing that happens, Ryan, they have to go to the bathroom. Ryan's going to go check it out. Well, he's going to go use the bathroom, but make sure it's good for Michelle to use too. So Michelle is left alone in the car. Now we have Alfredo, who decides he's going to kind of surprise Michelle with it's like a small skull on a stick that has a saw laugh.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, I even like paused. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I looked. It was almost like a Jack in the Box or something that he cut the box off or something.
Yeah, you're right.
It was really weird. So he shocks her, and then he snaps a photo, and then the hustle starts.
Hey, get it. Yeah, you got your kid. $5. It's only $5. It's a good picture. What do you say?
Yeah, so this is where it reminds me, just like Hitch did in TCM1. He snaps a photo. He wants money for it. He's talking real fast. This guy's really acting hard too, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. Like he's really selling this role.
He may be a little too into it.
Yeah.
So he's kind of freaking Michelle out. She's like, "What's going on?" And he does a lot of like muttering. She basically is like, "Hey, I don't want the picture. Just fill up the tank." And this is where some Alfredo dialogue comes into play. So as he goes to the back of the car and starts filling it up, here's some of his lines. Says, "Fill her up. I'll fill you up real good. Make you moan real good. You're going to like it. You like me, right?" So, and at one point, he's like staring in the mirror at her saying some of this, and she's like freaked out. So she gets out of the car. Well, then our hero Tex comes to save the day.
Right. And what does Tex do? Actually, I don't remember what he does with Alfredo.
Tex comes up and basically tells her like, "Hey, this guy's like a little unhinged. He ain't quite right. He's been touched, he's the town loony." And basically tells Alfredo, like, knock it off, kind of puts him in his place.
Yeah, so at this point, it is very creepy. You were in a bad situation with Alfredo. You didn't know what he was going to do, right? Yeah. And then Tex comes save the day. He's kind of the hero figure right now.
Yeah, he seems like a decent guy at this point.
His name's Tex. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. But then Tex decides to make some moves on Michelle.
You're the last thing I saw before I died. I die a happy man.
Because, women love that. After they've been assaulted by one man, to have another man come and try the same thing, but in a little bit of a better way.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's looking for a ride. He's trying to hitchhike somewhere. So he asks if she'll take him. She's kind of like, "Oh, we'll see. Maybe,
Well, and keep in mind, Michelle and Ryan's relationship is rocky. I'm just going to say, I don't think she likes him at all.
No.
And so when Tex comes, you can tell she's a little interested in this.
Well, he asks her, "Oh, who are you with?" And she said, "Oh, it's a friend."
Yeah.
Not good.
No, it's not. If anyone ever says that to you and you're in a relationship, bad sign.
Yeah, exactly. So Tex hits on her. She does a little like kind of smirk too. So she's not hating Tex.
No, I'm not hating him either right now.
And during this time, Alfredo goes back in the gas station. He's kind of like losing his mind. He's not happy about this whole situation. So Ryan returns from the background. Michelle and Tex are chopping it up.
And first Ryan's such a jerk. Ryan comes up to Tex and first thing he says is, "Who's this?" Right? And then Tex goes, "Hi, I'm Tex, whatever." And Ryan goes, "Yippee-ki-yay."
You can call me Tex.
Yippee-ki-yay.
He's so dumb.
He's awful.
So Tex is trying to butter him up. He's saying, "Hey, you guys want some food and drinks? Like, I'll buy if you guys just give me a ride."
Yeah, he's just trying to get home.
Yeah, wherever home is. So Ryan says they're busy, but Michelle says we can talk about it.
Yeah, she's kind of interested.
Which, by the way, is like an ultimate like slap in the face. Like, come on, if your girl's like, "Oh no, we can take him," like, oh man,
you're in trouble.
That's trouble. So Michelle goes to the bathroom, leaves Ryan and Tex together. Then we cut over to the bathroom, which, by the way, is like the most horrendous bathroom I've ever seen.
I was looking I don't even know if it's that horrendous. It's really weird looking. There's a lot of like women on the walls cut up, clearly what's his name? Angelo? Alfredo. Clearly Alfredo's done the artwork on the walls.
Yeah, he's plastered up some images in there, which is weird because it's like, oh, maybe it's a universal bathroom. I don't know. But we learn Alfredo's got a little secret.
He's got a little watching hole.
He's got a little watching hole for when people use the bathroom. So he's over there checking that out. Meanwhile, we jump back to Tex and Ryan. Tex is going to tell Ryan about a little secret path. You don't want to go on the normal interstate. There's a secret road, much faster. You want to go this route.
And you know what's funny? Let me just say this. If I was in this situation, there's clearly some red flags with Tex. Tex is hitting on Ryan's girl. Why would you even listen to this guy? And by the way, this path, it's not on the map. Right?
Okay. Well, you mentioned that. So Ryan pulls out the map. Tex shows him that the map is old. And in fact, it's a shout out to the first TCM. The date of the maps, I think when the first movie came out or either when it was set, either way.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So he shows Ryan, hey, it's not on the map because this is new, although the road doesn't look new. So interesting.
Yeah.
So Ryan is like, nah, though. Ryan wasn't having it. We'll give him credit for that. So once Ryan kind of shuts down the whole new path plan, I think Tex decides, hey, I better go check on Alfredo and see what he's up to.
Yeah.
So he goes in, finds Alfredo looking through the peephole. They get in like a little brawl. So we have Ryan and Michelle by the car. Tex and Alfredo were like kind of fighting inside, but then Alfredo pulls a wild card and grabs a gun.
Yeah. And Tex says, hey, it's time for you guys to get out of here.
Yeah, he runs.
And of course, now the car won't start again.
Yeah, we have starting issues with the car. That's every horror movie, right?
I know, right?
Don't worry, it'll happen again. So he tells them to take off. He's fighting there, like kind of fighting with Alfredo a little bit. Ryan and Michelle take off. Well, Alfredo gets a shot off and blows out the car window.
Jesus Christ!
So Michelle and Ryan get away, and then we see that Tex takes a shot too. What looks like he takes a shot.
Yeah, Ryan believes Tex just got murdered.
It looked like he did.
Now, don't forget, as Ryan and Michelle leave, they don't go on the normal path. They decide last minute they're going to take Tex's route.
And I think what happened is because Tex kind of saved them, right? He ran interference to let them get away. That made Ryan trust him more. And they just decided at a spur moment, let's take this route we've never heard of and let's go.
Yes. So they do the turn off. Now they're going on Tex's new route. So we cut back to the gas station. We see one of the bay doors open in the garage. And there's a big truck with its lights that flip on and it takes off. And Alfredo seems to be excited about this.
Yeah, Alfredo shoots his shotgun in the air several times and he says the trap is sprung now.
Trap is sprung now, honey.
Ooh.
So we know this whole thing is a setup.
Yeah, Tex and Alfredo, they're in on it.
Which then I start thinking, I'm like, well, then why the heck? I mean, there's a couple things. What was Tex's plan if he was going to jump in the car? Was he going to hold him hostage?
Also, like the plan itself, it's kind of a rough one. Like they have to take this road to leave.
My only thought is that they want him on the road so that no one will see when they take him out or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, their road is where it seems to be the spot where they set people up. But like, I don't know, if I was texting, like maybe work a little more on getting in the car rather than doing this elaborate gunshot. I don't know. Part of me just thinks Alfredo's nuts and kind of, you can't really plan a lot with him.
Yeah, maybe he said the trap is sprung, but really it was just kind of like a loose plan.
Yeah, a loose
trap.
So we cut back over to Ryan and Michelle, and you know what? Surprisingly, they're still arguing.
There was a town around here.
That's what he told me. Would you just slow down?
Turn it off.
You calm down. It's just a tire tread.
Stop yelling at me.
If you would just listen to me.
Dude, Ryan is just like yelling in her ear.
Yeah, that's my notes. They just start yelling at each other, and then they hear a noise. They can't tell what it is, but they hear it around them, but they don't see anything. Then we see the truck coming up, lights off.
So there's a lot of panic in this situation. Michelle asked Ryan, who's that? Which makes me laugh because I'm like, how would he know?
Yeah, exactly. The truck gets closer and closer. Then it throws on its lights. It's got the lights on the top and the headlights. So there's just a flood of white light on the car. They're freaking out. The truck kind of pulls next to him. I think he might even bump him a little, pulls next to him, throws a dead wolf on the car, and then takes off.
Yeah, which is an interesting move. I guess that's just like to scare him. I don't know.
Exactly. We don't know. And at this time, during the chase, at some point, they blew out a tire. I think they ran something over. So now they have a blown out tire. They got this weird truck chasing them, and they just had this gas station incident. Things aren't going well.
Right. So they pull over. They got to fix the tire. Ryan's actually doing it, which is surprising for pre-med, you know?
Before you go there, did you notice something again with the animal that looked different?
No.
Okay, I'm going to point it out to you right now.
Oh, what is that, an earring?
So on all the animals, they have a little metal tag on their ear.
Oh, really?
You never noticed this?
No, the armadillo too?
Yep.
Oh, that's so funny. Why? That's their animal?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it later on.
Oh my gosh. Look at you.
So now it's calmed down a little bit. They're still freaking out, Ryan and Michelle, but they have to fix this tire. Of course, there's like a ton of arguing about the tire. They can't work together on anything. These two do not belong together.
They never should have went on this trip in the first place. But you know, one other thing too, in the past TCM movies, the victims kind of did something to cause the scenario to happen, right? To cause the massacre. Like in the first one, they walked in the house, right? They broke into the house and Leatherface kills them, whatever.
Uh-huh.
These two didn't really do anything wrong.
They're just traveling.
Other than Ryan existing.
Yeah. Yeah. They just are in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, whatever. It's a different take.
Yeah.
They start hearing a noise as they're working on this car, a squeaking.
So this part made me laugh too, because Ryan's working on the car, putting the tire on, and Michelle's got the light, but she does keep taking the light away to look at the squeaking, and Ryan's in the dark trying to work on the tire, which you can imagine causes Ryan to get pretty angry about it.
Michelle, I need the light.
Yeah, I saw that too. I'm like, I would be mad about that too. Like, let's get this tire on and get out of here.
I don't like Ryan, but in this scenario, he was right.
Yeah. So we get a shot of looks to be like a bionic leg.
Well, I guess we could say Leatherface has had some work done to his leg, and he's got some sort of brace or something.
Yeah, we get a shot as they're working on the car. We hear the chainsaw start, and we get our first shot of Leatherface, who's a little hobbled.
Yeah, which I don't love, because I love the powerful Leatherface. This was a more disabled Leatherface.
Yeah, he's slower. It's just we'll get to it. But so as usual, they jump in the car. The tire's on. Car won't start again.
Leatherface is there hitting the chainsaw with the car, hitting the car with the chainsaw.
Yeah, he seems to be doing a lot of trunk work. He's not really worried about getting to them. He just seems to want to take the trunk off.
Again, this almost seems like part of the plan. This is just step 3 or 2. Do they just want to scare him?
Yeah, it's an elaborate plan that I feel like would rarely work, but hey, it's their thing.
Hey, they've killed a ton of people, so who are you to judge?
Yeah, Michelle finally gets the car started, throws it in reverse, trucks Leatherface, knocks him onto his back. Then they take off forward, but as they do, he like reaches up and grabs the trunk and finally takes the trunk with him.
I know, I first saw that, I'm like, dude, this guy's strong. He ripped it off, but I think he actually cut it off and then pulled.
He was doing a lot of cutting. So Ryan and Michelle, hysterical, they're gone now. Then we cut over to a new character, and his name's going to be Benny. And Benny's just having a good old time driving his Jeep. So,
Benny actually is one of my favorite characters.
I like Benny a lot.
Benny's cool.
Yeah.
He may be a drug dealer, but we'll get into that.
So as Michelle and Ryan are driving and Benny's driving, we don't see where they are in relation to each other. Like they don't even look like they're on the same road.
This is a great point because I actually paused to watch what happened.
I rewound this scene like 3 times because I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah, because it's not clear. So what is supposed to be happening is Benny's driving one way, Michelle and whatever his name is are driving the opposite way.
Apparently. So Michelle, what we see is Michelle and Ryan driving, Benny driving. Then Tex jumps out into the roadway, makes Ryan and Michelle swerve, which causes Benny to swerve, but you don't see them together, so it's really weird. And then Ryan and Michelle's car does like a front flip off the side of the hill, and Benny's car rolls over.
Yeah, it's like almost like both of them had accidents separately because I never saw the cars near each other.
Right. Yeah, it was really kind of bizarre.
But that is the plan, as we'll find out. Tex, this is all part of their plan. Tex jumps out in the middle of the road, dangerous plan at night, and scares cars into crashing.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game they play here. All right, so we get cut over to Benny, Ryan, and Michelle now. So Benny gets out of his Jeep. He goes to check on them. He finds that Ryan's out of the car. Michelle's still like kind of taking a nap. She's apparently hurt or
concussed.
Something. Benny, we learn it was coming from a survival camp with some buddies. He's like a doomsday prepper.
Yeah, he's been up in the mountains training, which apparently he does over there quite often.
Yeah. Eventually, Michelle wakes up, and then they're all kind of chatting it up. And they tell him about this chainsaw killer that they found.
Yeah, and Benny doesn't believe him at first because obviously it sounds crazy. And he thinks they're kind of concussed because they do kind of seem out of it. They just got in a car accident. And then, this is where Benny decides to give him some painkillers.
Yeah, I want you to take one of these.
Benny just all of a sudden offers them these painkillers, and he doesn't even really tell them what it is. He just is like, hey, take this, and they just take them.
Right. And he also said the wounds all look superficial, which I'm like, there could be some internal bleeding here, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
there's got a huge accident. We're gonna spoil it for you. Those painkillers also have a sleeping effect.
Wait a minute. What did you give us?
Painkillers. Might make you a little sleepy.
Yeah, so we now have a chainsaw killer after them. They've been in an accident, and Benny's just going to put them to sleep a little bit.
Yeah, so they take these painkillers, which will help the pain, but it's going to make them tired.
Benny, not a bad guy. Just, maybe needs to look into a little more before he, gives people medicine like that.
Yeah.
Again, these are prescription drugs. So the kids get, you can see they start falling asleep.
Yeah, they're tired.
Meanwhile, Benny's going to go back up to the accident scene and do some investigating. I think to check if Tex is okay or whatever, right?
Right.
This is where we meet our next family member, Tinker.
I need you to help me turn my Jeep up.
You mean upright?
Yeah, right side up.
Well, what do you think all these fucking flares are for, stupid?
Yeah, and he's over here setting flares, right?
Yeah, he's already at the scene setting flares, and he's driving a truck that looks suspiciously like the one that was just behind them.
Oh, you know what's stupid? I didn't even realize it was him.
Did you notice anything with Tinker?
Yeah, he had that same little tag on his ear.
You did not notice that. You just see the picture.
Yeah, I did not notice that.
So, and they don't really ever talk about this, but Tinker he has that metal tag on his ear. And so do all the animals. I don't even know really what the significance. Maybe it's just foreshadowing they wanted to put in the movie. But he tags apparently animals with the same thing. As Benny's talking to Tinker, first of all, Tinker's kind of a dick.
Yeah, right off the get-go. Yeah, what did Benny say? Something like, we need help. And he's just like, what do you think I'm doing? I'm putting flares down.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could tell already something's off with this dude.
Right. So Benny, while Tinker's doing his thing, kind of looks in Tinker's truck and notices there's some chainsaws.
Right. So Benny notices something's up, and I think I think Tinker wanted him to get in the car, and Benny's like, hold up. So Benny goes back to his vehicle, and he's got an AR.
Yeah. Now, here's the problem I have. Benny is supposed to be like a doomsday prepper. He doesn't have his magazine loaded.
The gun seems fully disassembled.
Yeah, he's got the gun, the magazine's at a different spot, and the ammo. Not a great prepper. Well, Tinker decides, instead of just waiting for Benny and talking this out, he's just going to run him over. So he floors it, guns it, hits the Jeep goes down the hill, Benny jumps out of the way. So as Benny jumps out of the way, he ends up going down the hill, and that's where we meet Leatherface again.
So this is when Benny and Leatherface get in an altercation?
Yeah, they get in a little fight, and I got to be honest, Benny kind of whoops his ass.
Okay, this is my problem with this movie, is that I don't like the fighting with Leatherface. There's a lot of hand-to-hand combat going on.
Yeah, and Leatherface is not that powerful in this movie.
Well, yeah, he's got a bum leg. He gets beat up sometimes.
Yeah, he's not that impressed with the Leatherface. So they're fighting. The chainsaw's running on the ground. And by the way, this chainsaw in this movie just has a mind of its own.
Yeah, do chainsaws just run without you holding anything?
No, it would be like a malfunction. In fact, there's safety guards so that they don't do that.
So, but maybe Leatherface is insane and took his safety guard off.
Sure, we'll say maybe Tinker modified his chainsaw, but it's just running full bore. So you're seeing this and somebody's gonna get sawed here, right?
Right.
So during this fight, they're battling it out, and we find the forest girl is watching.
Yeah, and I think Benny's about to get finished, right?
Yeah, because they got in a struggle. Leatherface got the upper hand because he pulled out a Dremel tool and hit his leg with it.
Yeah, he doesn't have just a chainsaw anymore or the mallet. Now he's, Dremel. I didn't know what it was. Some little tool that spins on top.
Yeah, it's a very small tool. It's like a superficial cut.
Yeah, this is for very close to close combat. Maybe a last chance resort for Leatherface. Pulls it out and slices Benny in the leg.
Yeah, and then he's about to finish Benny off when that girl distracts Leatherface and says basically you don't want him, you want me.
Yeah, and you might wonder what girl. Well, this is a girl who's just been hanging out in the trees.
Yeah, it's the forest girl from the beginning of the movie. She's back. I guess she just lives in the forest. So with the forest girl distraction, Benny's able to get away because Leatherface just chases the girl.
Right. And now we go back to the sleepy couple.
So yeah, we have multiple things going on right now. We got Tinker up there doing God knows what. Benny is off running around now, the forest girl and Leatherface, and then we got Ryan and Michelle.
Right.
So Ryan and Michelle, who've been drugged by Benny, not in a bad way, but it did happen.
It's just the reality, you know?
So they come out of their slumber. Apparently these pills have like a 5-minute like acting period.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, wait, what pill put you to sleep for like 2 minutes and then you're wide awake?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and honestly, like even a pill, like you don't just like fall asleep like that. Anyways, so they decide they're sitting ducks if they stay there, so they got to get on the move.
Right.
So they kind of cut all over the place with the characters doing. They're all kind of just roaming around and whatnot. Benny ends up randomly just meets up back with the forest girl.
Yep.
And she's super weird.
Wrong weapon, wrong war. They got us a week ago. I'm the only one left. Me and my sister. Sisters. We go together.
She's lost her mind in the last like 5 to 7 days, which I get it. Things were traumatic, but she seems like totally out of it. Like almost like she's on drugs or something.
Yeah, she's gone to another place. Well, she doesn't talk at first, but she finally comes out and explains what's going on. So she says like a week ago, her and her sisters got captured. She's the only one left, which goes back to the beginning of the movie. You realize that's her sister that gets killed in the very opening scene.
Right. So she's been there for 5 to 7 days and has not really gone anywhere.
No.
She does say that they have the woods trapped. They're patrolling the area. But I think with 5 to 7 days, you could get out a little further.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she gives a little history on the family or like what they do. She said they watch the road and they hunt people. And so she's stuck in the woods because she can't get away on the road because they watch it. And so they said they stopped to help a guy who was ran over. And that's what like got her.
Right.
So it's the same setup. Like the Tex like was in the road. She went to help. Then they caught her. She also mentioned she ate a rat.
The day before yesterday, I had to eat a rat raw.
Yeah, she ate a rat and she ate something else, some blueberries or something.
Yeah. So as they're chatting, they just decide again, this is the weird part where the movie's just like, what is going on? Because Leatherface is still running around wild. There's Tinker. There's like all these people are all over the place. And they just decide they're going to start smoking.
That's what I thought was interesting. Yeah, so Benny and the tree girl just start talking, like not that quietly, and smoking in the woods. Keep in mind, Leatherface is there somewhere.
Right, right. Well, and at this time, we hear Michelle. She's decided with Ryan to just yell for Benny.
Benny!
So she's screaming out in the woods. These two are smoking. Anyways, long story short, Benny decides, you know what? We got to split up. I got to go find Ryan and Michelle. So he leaves the forest creature.
Yeah, he said he's going to come back, though. Benny's a good guy.
Like, as if you know where you're really at in these woods. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no kidding.
So on his journey, Benny finds a trap wire. And we see our first trap.
Yeah, so like I said, this family has set traps throughout the woods. This is like the kill zone that they're in right now.
Yeah. We cut back over to the forest girl who, while roaming through the woods, came across Leatherface again.
And this was pretty anticlimactic from my perspective.
Here, I'll sum it up like this. Leatherface gently caressed her face and then put his saw in her stomach.
So Tree Girl's gone.
Yes, goodbye to young Forest Girl. So after Leatherface dispatches a Forest Girl, he ends up stumbling across Ryan and Michelle because Ryan found a trap with his foot.
Yeah, Ryan got caught. Michelle's trying to figure out, like, what do I do? Do I help him? Leatherface is coming. So I like this part. Michelle runs away a little bit and then turns around to watch the execution.
Yeah, I loved it because there was a contemplation where she's like, should I leave or should I try to help him? And it was clear what she was going to do, not help.
Do you blame her, though?
No, I don't blame her. So it looks like Ryan gets like sawed in half.
Yeah, it looked like he got killed. I couldn't tell what was happening.
Yeah, so now we have Benny and Michelle left out of all these victims, right?
Correct.
So Michelle runs around the woods and she stumbles across the new family house.
And as per usual, what do people do when they find a random house? They just walk right in.
You run inside. Now, my first impressions of the family house, a lot cleaner.
Yeah, it was.
A lot cleaner of a house, and there's a lot of like tech equipment.
Yeah, this family has upgraded a little bit since last.
Yeah, like lots of radios and stuff like that. And this is, I think, has to do with Tinker. It's almost like Tinker was meant to have a bigger role in this.
Well, and we talked about this. Tinker doesn't really do much in this movie. And you're right. I'll bet there's a lot of stuff that got cut because they kind of reference like electronics with him.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be a little more to it. As Michelle goes into this house, she noticed at the top of the stairs, there's just a young girl holding a doll crying.
And at this point, I would leave the house because it was creepy.
It's very creepy. So Michelle doesn't leave the house, though. She runs upstairs to investigate and finds this young girl in a room full of bones.
Yeah, it is an odd situation.
And it only gets weirder because she introduces Michelle to this doll whose name is...
This is Sally.
Sally, which I thought was really funny. That's a cool callback.
It was funny. And then even funnier, the girl decides to say, yakety yak, don't talk back.
And then shanks her.
Yakety yak, don't talk back.
And then takes a shiv and stabs Michelle.
Dude, it's like, this girl's gangster.
It's like, what is going on? So while right after this happens, Tex comes into the room, puts Michelle in a headlock, and that's where the big reveal is that Tex is definitely in on this from the start.
Right, and which we already knew, but now Michelle knows.
So they do a quick cut to Alfredo, who's at a lake, and Alfredo, again, crazy as ever, and he's just throwing like body parts into a lake.
So I think Alfredo's role, here's what I think is his role in the family. He's just kind of the grunt. Like, they don't respect him. At least that's from his self-talk, what I gathered. And he's there to clean up.
Yes.
He's the cleanup guy. He's going to reset the traps, and he's going to throw away body parts again into like a little pond or something there.
Yeah, it's like a little pond on the land.
So we know they're the ones, obviously, that are hiding all these bodies.
Yes, this is the family that has these mass murder pits.
And they are doing this because they like to eat people, just to make that clear.
Yes, they love the taste of human meat.
Yeah.
So we cut back to Tex and Michelle, who are now sitting at the table, and he's just casually talking to her as he hammers spikes through her hand.
I like Texas.
You know what? She took that pretty good, I thought, because when he was doing it, I was like, wait, did he just spike her hand? You know, I didn't even realize it. I looked, I'm like, oh my God.
And you may wonder, like, why are they doing this? Because Michelle asked the same question, and the little girl sums it up.
Because if you don't poke them, then they don't leak. If they don't leak, we can't feed Grandpa.
If you don't poke them, they don't leak. If they don't leak, we can't feed Grandpa.
Oh, Grandpa is here.
Yes, and then this is where we get our first shot of Grandpa and Mama.
And Grandpa looks like straight vampire now, right?
Grandpa, I don't know if Grandpa's alive in this one.
He's not. I don't think he is. I looked up something behind it, or something. I think I looked up some trivia on it or something. I think he's already dead because he does not move.
You'll see a little later. We'll explain. He takes a bullet to the head, and I believe he's made of dust at this point.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he's dead, and they're still gonna feed him. I don't know what's going on, but this is a crazy family, so we don't need to know.
So, like I said, we meet Mama, and Mama actually looks like a normal person.
Yeah, she looks normal, except for she's got the little trach thing, right?
She does, and she's got the little voice still that you put up to your neck, the smoker thing.
You best shuttle up, or I'll do your talk first.
That talk like that, you know what I mean? So she talks like that, but she actually looks like a friendly person.
Well, I don't know if I'd say friendly, but she's there.
Looks, doesn't act. She's not too friendly. So during this time, we see Tex. He takes out his knife collection. He's obviously going to do some carving here, right? I forgot. Did we mention Ryan? They bring in Ryan's body, and they have two hooks they put on him. And again, this is where the electronic stuff come in. They have like a motor powered lift that pulls the hooks up.
Yeah, so they hook him in the feet and pull him up, so he's hanging upside down right next to Michelle.
And the shocking thing is Ryan is not dead. I don't know how he's not dead, but he's somewhat alive.
I'd say he's barely alive. There's little noises you hear occasionally.
Yeah, they decide, and at this point they gag Michelle, and that's kind of where we are with the family. We cut back to Alfredo doing his work in the lake, and we see Benny sneaking up. And we see Alfredo again just tossing body parts into the lake. I only bring that up because it cuts back and forth a bunch.
It's kind of confusing, this one, especially when we're outlining it. I'm like, dude, so many different things happening around the same spot, but not really. You know what I'm saying? But there's lots of different cuts.
Yeah. Yeah, because then we go back to the house and Leatherface. Now we're going to get the side of Leatherface where they show you he's not just a killer. He's got what do they call Walkman?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been a while.
I know.
The cassettes, for you younger ones out there, there used to be these things called cassettes that had music on them, and you'd have a Walkman. This is before the Discman, which was revolutionary.
It's true.
And which is before you got the first iPods or whatever they were called, So anyways, he's got the Walkman and he's got his headphones and he puts them on Michelle, but she ain't into it.
So it seems like Leatherface is trying to develop a relationship with Michelle, right? Because as we've seen in all these movies, Leatherface likes women.
Yeah, but this Leatherface doesn't seem like as kind or gentle as previous Leatherfaces. I don't know. I didn't have a connection with this one.
Well, he's gotten older. He's gotten calloused.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't into it. So Michelle also wasn't really into it. And she didn't play along like previous victims. You know what I mean? It just was kind of a quick event and it was over.
Right.
So then we see that Tinker got Leatherface a new saw, which is this giant stainless steel saw that says the saw is family, which I actually kind of like.
Dude, I actually love that. You know, I was thinking, because I thought they referenced electricity or something at some point. I was hoping the saw was gonna be like electric and have like some like power, I don't know, shocking power or something. Is that just me?
That's just you.
No, because I think in the trailer, like they have Leatherface standing up and like electricity coming out of the saw. You'll see. He doesn't believe me.
Nothing about this family I like.
Well, I'll say this. I don't feel like any of these characters stand out. Even Leatherface isn't that interesting in this version, right?
Yeah, the substance is a little lacking. We'll save it for the end. But So we see Tinker, again, he gives Leatherface a saw, but then he decides to take Leatherface's radio and stick it in the oven.
Yeah, well, because Leatherface didn't get the last guy. And he was mad. So he's like, you're going to be punished and throw your Walkman in the oven, which seems like a bad idea to Leatherface. Like, why would you do that? But
so Leatherface chokes Tinker. It takes his hand, and now already the Walkman is caught on fire in the oven. So he takes Tinker's hand and makes Tinker's hand grab the Walkman for him, which
I kind of like that.
I respect it. Yeah. And then we see Leatherface go to Mama for some consoling.
Because we know Leatherface has a very close relationship with Mama.
Yes, so she consoles him, and we just see their relationship a little bit. Now we go back to Alfredo, who's still at the lake, and Benny gets the jump on him and has got his gun. So Benny knocks out Alfredo, knocks him into the lake, and kind of acts like that's the end of Alfredo.
Well, I'll say this too. I do think Alfredo was kind of funny when he was confronted by Benny.
Hey, baby, I only got one thing to say to you. You know what that is? I don't like the tone of your voice.
Alfredo just doesn't care. It's just crazy.
Yeah, he's not shocked that these things happen. He's just like, whatever. Like,
yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah. That reminded me of the South Park Randy Marsh.
What do you want to do, huh? What do you want to do?
No, I don't know if you noticed this scene. We go back to like the Leatherface's lair. I think it's where we started the movie in the opening scene. And he's like looking into the mirror and like looking at his face. And I feel like this was supposed to be like some profound thing. But to me, it was just strange.
Yeah, it was like he was really investigating his face, almost like like someone who's putting makeup on, and he's just like touching his face. Well, it's not his face, someone else's face on his face.
It was almost like who am I? Like, what have I become? Or I don't know. It just didn't play right.
You're right.
I was just, again, this movie didn't really set that kind of thing up. It just didn't go, to me, it was just odd. So after the mirror inspection, he decides to play a game, and it's, again, old school electronics, and it says choose an activity. And Leatherface just types in food over and over again.
Don't try this.
I mean, apparently they're just trying to tell us how unhinged they are. He only cares about food. But I was very confused on what I was watching.
Yeah, and he did it like 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's never gotten it right. He's getting very frustrated.
It's got to be the worst game ever.
Like, why is he playing it?
Yeah. So while Leatherface is playing this horrible game, we see Benny come to the window.
Yeah, and he's just like, what the F is going on, right?
Yes.
As we all would.
Yep. We jump back to the kitchen. Leatherface is cleaning his new saw. Tex has got an apron on, and him and Tinker are going to start taking apart Ryan. But we have a little collateral shot at California, and we are from California, just throwing it out there.
Look here, Mama. colored drawers.
Apparently at the time, that was the thing you shouldn't be doing, is colored underwear is bad, I guess.
God forbid some of us have fashion.
Yeah.
And we're wearing all black.
Yeah, I know.
So then there's a scene with Leatherface and the little girl.
Okay, so you didn't catch on to what happened.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's his daughter.
Why do you say that?
Because they said it.
He does make the sweetest damn babies, you know.
Oh, I totally
Leatherface
missed it.
likes private parts.
Likes them private parts.
Yeah, so Leatherface has a child.
Okay, didn't realize that.
Does that matter in this movie? No, but
No,
it's there.
That's the last you're really going to hear about it. So yeah, I was going to say the private parts. I thought it was really weird because the mom starts talking about private parts, and I thought I could be wrong. I thought she said her and the grandpa cut out their private part.
Cut my own out years back. Took care of Papa's too.
Well, no, she cut off her private parts, which I'm not a scientist or I'm not a physician. How does a woman do that?
I believe cutting out would be quite the operation.
Yeah, but she also took off grandpa's as well. It got weird.
Welcome to TCM3.
So now we come to the scene where it's time for Ryan to go. So what happens is the little girl, they have this contraption, Ryan's upside down, and they have something they're going to pull. Well, the little girl throws a fit. She wants to pull it. So everyone's like, oh, okay, fine, it's your turn. She pulls this device, and I don't know, something swings down, maybe a hammer, and hits Ryan, and he's dead.
Goodbye, Ryan. You thought you lived, you did not. So at this point, Leatherface starts the saw. I don't know. He's just playing around with it, whatever it is. And we see Benny creeps over to the window. Now, again, I love Benny, but some of his tactics are questionable. And he decides it looks like it's a blind, close-eyed fire through the window.
That's the problem, is we don't see what Benny sees. What it looks like to us is random shots in the house.
Well, I think they cut to him and his eyes are closed and he's just sweeping.
Like Arnold in Predator.
Yeah. So during this sweep, everyone catches some bullets. Mama catches one for sure.
Oh, Mama gets iced. She catches 3 in the stomach.
Yeah, Grandpa takes one to the head, and again, it's a powder puff. He ain't alive.
Yeah, his body has decomposed. He for sure was dead, and yeah, he just disintegrates.
Yeah, Tinker's ear gets taken off. I don't remember if Tex caught a couple, but they just sprayed. So during the chaos, Michelle breaks free,
rips her hand out of the nail that was holding it down.
Oh yeah. She just rips out, takes off, reconnects with Benny in the front. Then we see Leatherface get into the truck, and he's going to turn on some music.
Oh, God.
It's time to go.
Well, and the girl flips the lights on. So now it's to me, it was like a fight arena.
Yeah, this is the fight scene, clearly, right?
Right.
Benny tells Michelle just to run. He's going to do the last stand against Leatherface in this truck. So he takes aim. The truck's coming at him. He goes to shoot.
No bullets.
No, empty mag. Benny, come on, man. He gets trucked by the truck.
Yeah, I would think he'd actually know it was empty when he was shooting and the bullet stopped going out of his gun earlier. But who knows?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know how much. I think he's a prepper. I don't know if Benny was actually in the military.
I mean, it's pretty clear he probably was not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Benny gets hit under the car, feet hanging out from underneath the truck.
Yeah, Leatherface gets out, chases Michelle, and Michelle at this point has a change. She's over being the victim.
Yeah, she's now antagonizing Leatherface.
God! God!
Yeah, she's ready to fight. So they go off on their own journey. We cut back to Benny because he's not dead at all. He climbs out from underneath the truck.
So he faked the hit, I think.
Yeah. He just went under, did the classic lay down, truck goes over the top. As soon as he gets out, though, Tex is there with an axe.
Yep.
So Benny and Tex now get into a fight. And I'm just going to bullet point what happens, because this is how ridiculous this fight is. So Tex has the axe. Benny wrestles it away from him, gets it. First swing from Benny goes into a gas tank on the truck.
Right.
Which now is spilling gas out. Benny loses the axe, finds a chain, starts swinging it at Tex. Then Tex gets the chain, is choking Benny. They wrestle for a while. Tex gets showered with gas and then gets the axe back. Benny pulls out a lighter, and then I don't know what he says. It sounds like Toast.
Toast!
Yeah, and this is the best part. Benny's got the lighter out, which he got from the tree girl, which I don't think we said earlier. She gave him a little gift before she moved on to a better place.
Yeah.
So Benny's standing there with a lighter, and so is Tex, and they kind of both see what's happening, and Tex doesn't move, and Benny throws the lighter and lights him on fire.
Not only does he light on fire, he also explodes.
Oh yeah, big explosion, of course, is what happens.
Yep. So now Tex is out of the picture.
Tex is gone.
Now we're back with Leatherface and Michelle running through the woods. Michelle hits a trap, which has like a counterweight system where it's on her leg and it's just pulling her through the forest. You see this giant weight coming down as it's pulling her. So it's like this kind of a thing, right? And the weight gets caught on a tree branch. 100% I thought that weight is going to fall on Leatherface's head. There's got to be a cut scene here.
I'm with you. I don't know what the whole purpose of this weight that we were watching or why they even had the scene where it got stuck.
Right. It makes no sense.
No. And what was the purpose of the trap? Just to pull her to a different location?
Well, I think the trap is meant to pull you in the lake and drown you.
Oh.
I think. So maybe they stalled it so she could get kind of free, then she gets free in the lake. Either way, they like show this weight and it's like Leatherface running. You just think like he's running this weight, you know, like it's gonna fall on him, but it never happens. So she gets pulled all the way to the lake, gets out of the trap. So Michelle crawls out of the lake to meet Leatherface standing above her. Okay. That's when Benny shows up and tackles Leatherface into the lake. This is where we have again a supernatural saw again.
Dude, the saw has been knocked out of Leatherface's hand in the water, but it is still on, very much on and sticking straight up.
So the blade is just like a shark fin, sitting there running full bore. Somehow the saw doesn't sink and somehow it's just running full. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Arguably it got more powerful.
Yeah. So we see what's going to happen here, right? Someone's going into this saw. So after this long wrestling scene in the lake, Leatherface gets the upper hand, and it appears that he grabs Benny and takes his head to the saw.
Yeah, I couldn't really see what was happening, but presumably Benny got sawed.
Yes. So this is another interesting scene where Michelle is watching this from like the lakeshore, right? And she's looking at this happening. Well, she sees this Benny's probably dead. So she like turns around and Leatherface all of a sudden like goes underwater. This happens really fast. And he pulls like a Jason Voorhees here and explodes out of the water next to her and grabs her.
It's funny you say that. And maybe this was like a little nod to Friday the 13th because I thought the same thing too. I'm like, dude, that looks like the Jason move.
Oh, dude, 100%. And it made no sense either because it was like he was far away, then he's like right there.
No.
Either way, she grabs the rock and we have a little like cut back to like where she had to deal with that armadillo in the rock. She couldn't hit it with the head.
She didn't want violence in the beginning. Yeah, she just couldn't pull the trigger.
Michelle's changed now and Leatherface gets bashed in the head with a rock.
Yep, by Leatherface.
And it floats away as the saw finally sinks.
Yeah.
Scene ends. Then we cut to Michelle walking alone on an empty road. Nobody's around. There's all this death and destruction. We think it's over, but then we see the truck coming.
Uh-oh.
And it's the family's truck. It's a close up of the side of the truck as it pulls next to her. It's not over. But then she looks up. It's Benny.
Freaking Benny's back.
This guy can't die, dude. I don't know how he survived that. He doesn't even look like he's hurt, really.
And
like
he's so
bad.
And he's so nice. So I'm happy. I'm happy for Benny.
I do like Benny. He actually is my favorite character in this movie.
Oh, for sure.
So they think, now they're going to get in the truck and we're going to go on our happy way to a better life, right?
Movie's over.
Except for Alfredo, because he has a mallet in the back of the truck, which he hits Benny in the head with.
Yes. Alfredo, hits Benny. Benny's back down again. He kind of fights. I think he's breaking the windows. Michelle's in the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Long story short, he gets in the back of the truck. Michelle gets a shotgun. Boom. By Alfredo. Take his body, throw it out. Benny and Michelle get in the truck. They leave. And they leave. Finally, now it is over. Except for Leatherface, who's walking up the road. Yeah, except for with his bum leg is walking. So he's still alive. The end. No dance. I know. What the heck, man? Okay, let's go over some of our thoughts. We'll give it our final ratings, and then we'll do some trivia. Was there a saw kill or even a kill that was actually interesting in this movie? Like the saw in the lake was kind of interesting, I guess, when Benny got sawed, but he didn't even die, and you couldn't really even see that.
Okay, the first kill of the movie, we can run through. Like,
Well,
you
yeah.
can cut these, but
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't even have to be a saw kill, just any kill that was interesting. I guess the guy upside down was kind of cool, but you didn't even see that.
no. So let's go through the kills. So the first kill was a mallet in the head, the girl in the beginning. The tree girl does get a saw, I think, to the stomach. But again, it's not really shown that much, I don't think.
Yeah, and then Ryan's hanging upside down and he gets killed by some device that swings and hits him.
Tex gets blown up. There's a bunch of gunshots. Yeah, there really isn't that much like saw work here.
Feel of the movie's off. I don't like the action sequences. There's a lot of hand-to-hand fighting. I don't feel like fits Leatherface or Texas Chainsaw. That's not what I look for in these kind of movies. And then even the action scene, there's like rock music. It just doesn't fit with this type of movie. In fact, I don't really know what this movie was going for.
Yeah, and I don't know, the family members themselves, they mass introduced a bunch of them. Like we met like the little girl, grandma, grandpa, and even like Tinker. We kind of got to know them like a little bit more at the house, but their parts are so small. You don't really have any connection to any of them. Leatherface, the way they took him was just kind of bizarre in this one.
Yeah, I would say none of them are very interesting. Like Tex says that there's not really much to him other than he likes to be called Tex.
Yeah, and their whole plans are chalked. Like, I don't know, their whole setup job wasn't that great. It kind of didn't make a ton of sense.
No, Alfredo was interesting. I'll say that. Like his character was wild. That he was an interesting character, but we didn't really even see that much of him. To me, there was just too much. Too many family members. They didn't develop the characters very well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tex had like potential to be like somewhat of an interesting character, but like you said, there really wasn't much to it because it's like he was like a nice guy, then he was like a dead guy in the road, and then he's like a bad guy with the family, but he's like wearing an apron and stuff. And like, I don't know. It was very bizarre.
Yeah. I just think overall the movie wasn't very memorable. There weren't any parts where I'm like, oh yeah, this part happened. That was really cool. Or this part was scary. I wasn't scared at all during this whole thing. It was interesting at first. It's all like these movies are all interesting how these people get themselves in these bad situations. But other than that, there wasn't really much to it.
And it seemed like the scenes were just like these random events, not necessarily like pieced together great. Like it just kind of was like random stuff. The best character was Benny by far. He was the most interesting. He was at least like a prepper, so he's got that side of him going. Seemed like a cool guy, gives out free drugs, that kind of stuff. The forest girl was a super weird character that just was like out there.
Came out of nowhere and she was gone just as fast.
Yeah, there's no cook in this movie, so I don't like that.
No, come on, man.
So with us saying all that, let's give our final ratings. Again, we have a four rating system. Must see, check it out. If bored, worth the watch, and skip it. What you got?
Oh, dude, this is kind of tough for me because I would say if bored, worth a watch. It wasn't the worst movie I've seen, but it just wasn't very interesting.
So I will go with, again, this is how I roll. If you're a fan of the series, if bored, watch. If you're not a fan of the series, skip it.
I totally agree. But see, I almost feel like this thing could exist outside of all the other movies because it doesn't even fit that well with other ones. Like Leatherface is totally different. The feel of the movie is totally different. It's not scary at all. It almost feels more like an action movie. And to me, that's kind of the biggest problem is I love Leatherface or the Texas Chainsaw franchise because Leatherface feels so powerful. I mean, TCM2 is blasting through walls.
Right.
TCM1, he's just killing everyone like one hit. This one, he's like hand-to-hand fighting and losing.
Yeah, he loses a lot of fights. He's not even great with the chainsaw. He's slow. Come on, nobody wants like a Leatherface that can't even like run.
No.
So anyways, that's our thoughts. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're right. Let us know in the comments or leave a review if you're a listener. So let's move on to a little bit of trivia. The house from the movie was also used in Alice Cooper's House on Fire music video.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. The ranch where most of the filming was done is so close to Six Flags Magic Mountain amusement park. The director, Jeff Burr, swears you can hear screams from the roller coaster during some takes.
Oh, that's funny. I want to hear that.
I know. The armadillo hit by Michelle and the coyote thrown on the Mercedes both have earrings, the same worn by Tinker.
I know, that part, if I was into the movie more, I'd like to go back and see if there's other things I missed, but I won't.
Yeah, even that, it's like, that's kind of interesting, but because there's nothing to, I mean, I guess that's kind of interesting.
Why did they put an earring on the armadillo?
I guess it's his way of like setting up animals in the road, maybe to get people to wreck.
Oh, okay.
That's what I would go with. Character error. There's a ton of errors in this trivia. I didn't put them all in, but it's just funny how many errors. Like they talked about the medicine thing. They talked about a bunch of other stuff. Crew or equipment visible. When Michelle and Tex are at the gas station standing in front of the car talking, the camera crew is reflected on the grill of the car.
That's funny.
I bet you didn't notice this, but Caroline Williams reprised her role as Stretch from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. So Stretch from TCM 2 is a cameo as a news reporter in this.
Oh, dude, I didn't even notice that.
The funny thing is when I was doing this, because I take all these notes, I took a picture of the image of the reporter because I thought she was going to be a character in this. And I saved it and I didn't realize it was even her. Then I went back and watched it. It totally is.
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
Yeah, it's like a one shot. Like it's quick. This is the only Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie not to be filmed in Texas. As we mentioned before, it's filmed outside of LA. Farmhouse and gas station were sets built for the film.
Oh, interesting. Well, maybe that's why I didn't feel right.
Yep. So that ends our Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 review. And now we're on to what's the next one?
I think it's the one with McConaughey.
I think it's The Next Generation. I think that's what it's called.
And I haven't even seen that one yet, so I think it'll be better than this one.
I remember I did watch it before. It's been a long time. I think I liked it. So
see, I don't even care if it's bad as long as it's interesting.
Oh, some bad movies are good, but this one, yeah, lacked a lot of
Well,
that.
like I said, there's just nothing in here that I can even really point out like, oh, that was cool when this happened.
Yeah, nothing was really scary. It was just kind of watched a film.
Blah.
Blah. Anyways, thank you guys all for listening. If you guys enjoy the show, if you could leave a review, that would be great on Apple or Spotify. We'd greatly appreciate it.
If you want to become a member, hit up our YouTube channel. We love our members.
And if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Anyways, thank you guys all for watching. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
See ya.